You gotta be more specific.
The how is simple enough. It's the why that troubles me.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time.
Long intro, and we can curse, by the way, so just feel free to say whatever you want, whenever. It's not a big deal.
Right here. Right here. Right here. Right here.
And it is episode 136 of Mole and Zanes.
That's way off.
What is it?
156.
156. 150. Yeah, 155.
Way off,
155. 154. 154.
Okay.
154 sounds a little bit better. We've done too many of these. By the way, this is Mole and Zane's podcast, Rambling Randomness. I'm Mole.
I'm that other guy.
That's the other guy, Zane.
That's me.
And over here we got Miss Nicki Sombrero. And
Packed house.
And it is a packed house because we have a special guest today, and people may know him, and he's been on the show before in video form.
In video form.
Now
And I have never seen him.
you never saw it.
Because
Okay.
I've never seen the video.
And audio form, by the way.
I've heard the audio.
yes,
I've
so
heard your
there you
sweet,
go.
sweet voice.
Yes, you have a sweet. This is Mr. Andre Gower of Monster Squad fame and of Wolfman's Got Nards, the new documentary about the Monster Squad. So how are you today, my good friend?
I'm not as good as that awesome intro that you guys have. That was pretty kicking. I like that.
Thank you. So we are here today to talk about former jobs, and that's what the music is going to be tied into today, is working, essentially, job stuff.
I work.
You do work. I used to work a lot. Z here works way too much.
I work more than I ever have now.
Nicki Sombrero and I have about a combined 15,000 jobs,
At least.
At least. How many jobs have you had besides acting and stuff?
Well, if technically every acting job that you do is technically a separate job.
You are very right. Okay.
However,
I should specify genre of job. How's that?
Yeah. And so, but if you you kind of lump those all together as like one. So like performing in front of the camera is like one job.
Right.
Tacked on to that is probably another couple dozens. If you added them up, being actually long-term real stuff or, one-offs or short-term type things, but it runs the gamut, man. All different ages, been in the event space and the sports travel and the hospitality world and, using some of my skills that I learned in college, which, led to what I thought was going to be a no-brainer into, broadcasting ended up just being working at newspapers for years. Okay. So it runs all over the place. Some I don't talk about and others I'm totally fine talking about. It ran from, it was weird because, when we set this up and you started thinking about it, I started clicking things off in my head and I was like, that was me. Like I did that too, not just in camera stuff or behind camera stuff, which all counts kind of.
Yeah.
But
counts. Like real, non-industry / regular world type things. Yeah, it's kind of started adding up there, especially when you get older. But it's runs the gamut from being a sports writer at a newspaper with a weekly column all the way to before that or even after that. Working part-time in a 1-hour photo lab that my friend ran and, running events from one of my best friends in college all over the world and, going to big sporting events and managing groups of people and, hospitality type things. So, it's all over the place.
Yeah, I know I personally have had, I have a list. Hold on.
Do you really have a list?
I was prepared.
You make lists for everything.
I was prepared. Okay.
Where do you get all this ink?
the old laser printer. I went into the Randomverse and got that shit back from the fucking 80s. Oh, let's see. I had, I can't even go over this. We're going to be here all day. All right, I've had roughly 36 jobs.
And before we get more into it, where can the people find us?
Oh, I don't know if they want to hear that. Okay. They can find us at www.digitalzoneent.com. That is www.digitalzoneent.com. You can find us on the Twitterverse everywhere. Just search Digital Zone ENT. You can find us on Anchor.fm, which is, by the way, the best place to start a podcast if you did not know.
Not just for boats.
It is not just for boats
Nope.
anymore. Anchor.fm. You can also find us on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon.com, wherever else you get your pods from, on the YouTube at Digital Zone Entertainment, and everywhere else on the internet.
That was
That's good.
That's good.
I think
good.
you got,
I think I got everything. I think I got everything. Okay, cool. So let's talk.
Andre, where can you be found?
Yeah,
I'm
I was
sure
about to
the
say.
people
I was
would
like,
to find you.
I was gonna say, if it wasn't for him, I'd be fucking all over the place, guys.
I don't know if I can do where I can be found as well as you just did, but that was 1,000. That was 1,000 things.
3 years in, man, I'm like,
kind of the normal places like U.S. Mail and Friendster.
You got that MySpace account still kicking?
No, that got hacked and frozen by like some music thing. Actually, on the regular, on the regular interwebs or your phone apps, that everybody's using these days. On Twitter, it's at Andre Gower, and on Instagram, it's at Andre Gower Official. And you can, if you're interested in the documentary, you can follow at the Squad Doc on both of those and get info and feeds and media articles and things like that. But follow me, hang out, send me a shout, send me a photo, send me a meme, send me a GIF. I try to interact with people, on the Twitter and Instagram as much as I can.
Yeah,
That is much better than me because I do it none. I
do it just a little bit
put
better
pictures
than
of
you.
puppies on the Instagram. I don't understand it. That Instagram, it's so much work.
It's a lot of
work.
It is a lot of work. And
building your name
not that I'm
brand.
lazy, but it is a lot of work in a different sphere of work. So yeah.
Oh, I'm just straight lazy.
I post too much stuff.
Yeah, Nicki Sombrero here is on a whole nother level on the Instagrams and.
And to be fair, I'm a photographer.
She is. So she is. So we call her Nicki Sombrero because she has had many hats in different jobs all over the place. And on that note, we're gonna act like we're going over to our first song today.
Act like it?
I'm gonna act like it. Why is Power Radio? Because we got a guest via video, and I can't really sit here and bop to music while he's gonna be sitting there just going, "What the hell are you guys listening to?" And this is kind of neat. Why are they bobbing their heads? They could be talking about me. I don't know. So we're gonna first go to let's see, Zane. What is the name of your song?
Okay, so one of my most exciting. I haven't had honestly that many jobs. I really haven't. I've kind of stuck to the jobs that I've had. When I started my little DJ business that has been basically shut down now for a year and a half.
Yeah.
So that really isn't doing much. But I got the opportunity to be a pool guy back in high school. One of my friend's fathers ran a pool business, so I got to be one of those guys that drove up in the truck every week to some house where people were rarely out in the country here, and we would clean their pools, fix their motors, open and close, and it was honestly one of the funnest jobs I ever had. Come to find out, I couldn't find a lot of songs about being a pool guy, but I did find a song named by a guy named Rappin' Hook.
Rappin'
called,
Hook.
And I know that you were a pizza guy.
I was for many years.
And it was called Why Is There a Pizza Guy in My Pool? And, you came across some weird things that you saw in pool. People always ask, oh, did you ever come across, people, some young people skinny dipping on? I'm like, nope. It was always like some 70-year-old lady. Most of the time it was a man out there sunbathing by the pool. And
gold chain, beer belly.
You'd pull up in the truck and they wouldn't move. They're like, this is my place. And we'd be like, we're here to clean the pool. Yep. Could you put a towel on, please? Oh, Yeah, I could do that for you.
Sure.
I could do that. But it was an awesome job. I really did enjoy it. So,
Yeah.
we got to drive around in the truck all day. Back then, there was a lot of grass being smoked. So
A lot of the devil's lettuce?
Yeah, it was a good time. I learned a few things. I could still prime a pump from time to time. I could still prime a pump.
What is the right pH balance for your pool?
7.5 to 9.
There you go. You learn something new every day.
But now, if you want the good stuff, everybody got that saltwater pools now.
Yeah.
They chlorinate themselves.
Yep, saline pool.
Yeah,
right?
so that's my jam.
All right, so your
Throw
jam
that
is
on.
Pizza Guy in my pool. Here we go, Rapping Hook. And we're back, Rapping Hook. That was great. Magic of Radio was awesome. Pizza Guy in my pool. If you want to hear that song, you just did. So there you go.
All the songs that you find here today are on the Spotify.
Oh,
and they
we
will
do have
all
a-
be added to the list.
That's right. We do have a nifty, handy-dandy Spotify list. If you don't want to hear our beautiful voices, you can just listen to the music. I don't know why you would want to do that.
Mole and Zane's
But sure.
podcast
Of
Randomness
playlist. You can
That's
find
it.
it. There's a link right where you find our podcast. It's
it really?
right there in the description, so you can click on that link.
Oh, cool.
Look at that, handy dandy, like Blue's Clues.
Ain't that nifty?
Oh,
I'm gonna go do that now. Bye, guys. Bye.
Okay, we'll see you later, Andre. Nice having you on. Thanks.
I was here for the music. Bye.
You gotta go. See you later. Shit. So let's keep talking. Nicki Sombrero,
Yes, sir.
I was gonna get to you.
This is a hard subject for me.
What?
'Cause what state should we narrow down what state we're gonna talk about?
Let's start with
I've state hopped a few times.
quite a few. She is all over the place. She has a little blog that will be put back up.
Governor?
No.
We should be asking what
no.
jobs haven't you done? This is what we need to be talking about.
Yes, well, obviously, photographer for many, many years now.
I do
at
love your
this point.
photography.
Like 22 years in, which includes, weddings, lots of headshots. I've done 15 feature films
Which
doing
head?
set photography and, this one.
that it.
This one on your
one.
shoulders. And some different TV shows and such, and babies and puppies and all that fun stuff, and 6 years at the newspaper, and blah, blah, blah.
And blah 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 blah
And
blah
blah, 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 as far as photography goes.
Is there still a
and lived-
newspaper?
Ulster Publishing actually had to shut down almost all the way because of COVID, so you can only find them online now. A lot of us got laid off, unfortunately. So newspaper, that's not a thing anymore.
No.
No.
Speaking of this whole COVID thing, how is it like out there, man? Like, is it affected you at all? Like, Andre, like at period, like your work thing, like going on, movies or directing or anything like that?
Yeah, no doubt. It was, whatever day it was that, the world decided to actually shut down. You kind of had those rumblings of what, oh my gosh, is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? What's going to go down? I kind of knew and kind of prepared a little bit for that about a week or two before any of that kind of conversation started. But yeah, on that kind of, once things like, things that affect you in your kind of space, like when South by Southwest canceled,
Right.
was like kind of the first, clarion call of, oh shit, something's going down. And if these big events are pulling back, then this is probably going to be something heavy that we just haven't been informed about yet. And, like I mentioned with other stuff, one of my best friends started a huge, travel and event and hospitality company, which has now been acquired and gobbled up by these huge names and brands now. So it's one of the biggest things in the country. And that's a pretty good resource for live events and sporting events. And when all those things kind of, put the brakes on, then you knew this was a lot further down the road than just a couple weeks.
Right.
I don't even know. Look, obviously nobody did anything right on the from the ground level of people on the street all the way up to state and federal agencies handling things from the beginning. I think it could have been better, but this was never going to be over in like 3 or 4 weeks like people thought it was, like in February of last year.
Right.
But yeah, as soon as everything kind of put the brakes on it, I had 8 to 10 months or more of the things that I had booked and planned to do just wiped off. So that put a weird kind of kibosh in your calendar. It was like if your calendar was a white erase board and like
It just kind of went.
the world was just one big like fuzzy eraser. And in one day, because you knew that just wasn't going to happen or come back. And interestingly enough, on that, it was with the documentary we had as some people know or may not know, that we had some weird delays coming out of our festival run about actually getting this movie out. And before kind of COVID hit, we had entered in, for a number of months, we had been in this big distribution deal and was getting out to the world. And, for a couple of reasons that got delayed, and then it ended up into, COVID became a thing, and then everybody pulled out of everything. And I was like, what are you pulling out of this for? It's like, we're already down the road on the agreement, and like everybody's gonna be watching content at home, like continue with this. And it just ended up dying. And then we had to start again from scratch in the middle of April, trying to, find a different distribution deal, because that one fell through for one of two reasons. And so I spent most of this, spring and summer working on that. So I was very busy, even though everything was shut down, because I was trying to get this damn movie out. And that finally happened in October. And then, for the last, month or so, we've been working on getting the international, kind of deal set up. So that's in process now. So I've been busy with the documentary stuff because I released a movie in the middle of this craziness.
What movie?
And Wolfman's Got Nards.
No,
and
I'm just
so.
I thought. Never mind. I'm an idiot. Go ahead. Keep going.
What movie did you release?
Like, what? The one you're talking about, or is it a different one? No.
Yeah, that's okay. The pool guy put
I
too
smoke too much
chlorine in
weed,
the room,
dude. That's
obviously.
what it is. I smoke way too much weed.
So it's been a weird, kind of, hell, it's almost been 12 months now, right?
Yeah.
It's almost been a year. So this past, 10, 12 months has been really, really slow, yet also very busy, if that makes any sense, just on, working on this project. But I was also in the middle of, trying to, I'm a producer on my man Henry McComas is a script and film that we're trying to get done, and we were in the middle of the beginnings of a deal to get it going right when COVID hit. And Henry is my main guy on the documentary, and so we work well together, and we've got these other projects we work on. He's written this really awesome script that he wants to direct, and I jumped on as a producer with a couple other pals of ours, and trying to get it financed and off the ground. And we were really hoping to shoot that last fall, which means by now it'd be done, and post might be close to being finished, and looking to release this next fall. But that also got wiped off the slate as well for right now. So but we spent a lot of time working on that, and that's what happens in entertainment. There's a lot of speculative work that you do up front that you're just not quite sure is it's going to bear fruit or not. And you may spend 8, 9, 10 months on something, think it's going to happen, and then one phone call and it doesn't, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And so you just never know. And so it's been a weird year, and it's not just for me, it's obviously from everybody. And look, there's 9 out of 10, 9.5, 9.95 out of 10 people have it a lot worse than I do right now. And so it's just been hard on everybody. It's just been a really weird year. But this is our thing that we had to deal with. Like, we really haven't dealt with much strife or issues or hardships as definitely this current generation,
right,
or even my generation. It's we've had it quite easy for a while.
Yeah, we definitely have quite.
We haven't had any world wars.
No.
That's no plagues until now.
Yeah, I mean, we had that Spanish flu for a minute, but whatever that was.
And just despite the fact that I had 5 jobs just kind of go poof. I'm a school teacher by day normally, And then I have my photography business, which I had 9 weddings cancel last year.
Yeah.
And then I usually shoot for about 3 different music magazines. So all of my events and music festivals that I usually spend all summer doing, gone. I worked for a recording studio, gone. I actually have not been at school in over a year. So it's crazy. It was the only video work that I even did this year. I did 1 music video over summer, and no film, no TV. Like my whole bubble just burst. So that's been weird. It's been a lot of time just reflecting and fishing, I think, actually, this summer.
Fishing? Yeah, no, I did a lot of fishing this summer, too. I can't say
I did a lot of fishing.
Quite a lot of fishing.
I learned to be a mason.
He did. Zane learned to be a mason, and I learned
I'm
that.
no master, but I can mix some mud together now.
That's
That's
true.
something that I didn't ever expect to be doing.
And I learned that, if I don't send my kids to school for at least 6 hours a day, I get very grumpy. So I got 5 of them, and they like to, when they're home, they're home. You can hear them all over, and they've been home a lot because of school. So they're doing that online stuff all the time now, and it's
To be honest,
which-
though, it's like I'll say that this whole thing, it's being that it has been almost a year now, that it's really taught me to slow down some and not take everything as seriously as I was taking it. And there's a lot going on out there, even without a pandemic going on, and it's
Very
just
true.
nice to be able to take a look at it from time to time and with a fresh set of eyes and stop just going.
that is
Because I
very
was doing
true.
a lot of going and never actually, being grateful for any of the stuff that was actually, getting achieved. It was just, one thing, then the next,
Yeah,
then
yep.
the next. And, so having that time to see the achievements that have been laid out or the failures, have been pretty cool to watch.
Yeah. And speaking of that, 80stees.com. You like t-shirts? They're still a sponsor. I keep forgetting.
Under here somewhere.
80s. There you go.
There's
Look,
a
there's a
t-shirt.
t-shirt. Andre, do you like t-shirts? I assume you wear them, right?
I am a t-shirt guy. That's
Well-
pretty much all I wear.
Well, then,
yeah.
then 80stees.com is the place you want to go for all your high quality, officially licensed t-shirts from the 80s. Now, I'm not sure. I haven't looked. So I don't know if they got Monster Squad stuff on there. If they are, I'm gonna have to get you a cut, because I don't want to be ripping my boys off here. Like, but
Well,
80stees.com.
that'd be fine. I wouldn't turn it down, but I don't own the rights to all that either. So
Hey
it's
man,
okay.
your face is on that shirt. You're getting it. That's all
Got
I'm
an in
saying.
with Kevin over there.
Yes, we got Kevin, our good friend over there, gave us not a 5, not a 8, not a 9.5, or a 10 even. They gave us an 11% discount.
Where else are you gonna get 11%?
11%, because we go that extra mile for our people. You know what I mean? That one extra mile. Promo code Digital Zone, 80stees.com. And you can also go to our other sponsor, myhighshop.com. Use promo code Digital Zone ENT. Get yourself 35% off of anything on their website. That's myhighshop.com. Digital Zone ENT is the promo code. And Zane is currently looking up.
I really want to know.
80s
if there's
Tees.
Monster
Now he wants to
Squad
know if there's
stuff on
Monster
there.
Squad shirts on 80stees.com. We're going to find that out. And while Zane is doing that, we're going to go to our next song. And we let Mr. Gower here pick a song too. And the song that he chose was, and I will tell him if he doesn't remember, it is Bob Seger's Hollywood Nights, which is a great song, by the way.
Very good.
Very good pick. You big Bob Seger fan?
I love Bob Seger.
Yeah?
It was something, you grow up and you hear it, on the radio or in films or TV or Chevy commercials. And you're like, yeah, okay, that guy. But then I really got into Bob Seger about, I don't know, I'd say 15, 20 years ago. And I was like, this guy was different, but he was a staple and he had a great sound. And then it made the world of difference that I went to 2 of his concerts, and in the last 10 years, it's been about 6 or 7 years now.
Oh, wow.
But, he's up there like rocking it out, gray hair, gray beard, like, an awesome peapod just hammering out awesome rock songs. And his band is still awesome, and it was a great show.
Nice.
And it was interesting for. I've been to it. I used to, didn't we all like to go to live? I love live music and concerts and things. I'm not much for crowds anymore, but going to a good show, it's worth it. And Bob Seger, I think my wife and I were the youngest people in the arena, and then we've also been to shows where we're definitely the oldest. So it was, it was a whole weird thing. But Bob Seger runs the gamut, man. It was such an interesting sound, from where he came from, and he's a Detroit guy, but so there's Midwest, there's 70s rock, but you could tell he was influenced by Detroit, and Motown and things like that.
Right.
And so he blended it into his songs, and that's what kind of stood apart. But it was also, they were performers also. So he wasn't just a recording artist, and I don't think his videos were fantastic, because they were all in the early days, but they're awesome now. Yeah, it's just there's some songs that he does, and awesome new bands have covered them, and as they should, and he's just sort of a staple that I'm not quite sure that people throw in their top 10 lists all the time. I really don't. I think he's kind of just left off the list, even though he probably should be leading it for a lot.
It's true. Yeah. So let's listen to it real quick here. Bob Seger, Hollywood Nights. And we're back. Bob Seger's so good. I'm sorry. Gotta love it. Click, we're back. Hollywood Nights.
This is odd.
It's odd. I know it's weird, but you know what? We gotta actually start doing it this way now anyway with the music, because Spotify and Anchor are being weird. We're gonna have to actually split in the songs through their synced app. It's kind of fucking weird, but we gotta do what we gotta do so we don't get our shit strucken. You know what I'm saying? We need that money, which we haven't gotten yet. But
Absolutely.
We will be.
I don't want money.
I know. Well, we
Every
gotta donate.
dollar,
Did we
yeah,
already?
every
Did
dollar's
we
going-
not?
going to-
We have gone over this. Every dollar we make off of this show will go to charity.
Yep. And
Every dollar.
I still have, 3 fans?
4?
3 fans!
Because he's the other one signed up. So, if you want to make Zane feel good, Mr. Gower, please go on Spotify and sign up for that podcast playlist. Zane will be happy knowing that one person on top
It will
of...
make 5.
It'll make 5.
Oh, 5. Well, that's my number. Maybe 5. I was gonna wait till 5 came up.
Oh,
so
I
maybe
knew it.
I
three
know,
or 4
see?
months. But if it's 5, then I'll go and do it. No, it's
simpatico.
it's always interesting to get to participate in a different way in a show or a podcast, and you ask me like it's about jobs and like experiences and like name a song, and that's almost like telling me to pick my favorite movie,
Right.
which is the hardest thing in the world to do. And someone put me on the spot the other day in a pub, like, what's your favorite movie? I was doing a thing for my one of my best friend's high school class. It was like 100 kids in their high school, and I was just talking to him about it was a bunch of smart kids in like this finance academy group at a big public school, and so we were talking about movie making and the economics of it. And then they asked what my favorite movie is, and I had no idea. So I was right on the spot. It was terrible, and then I hung up, and I was like, oh, it's this, and this. But music's even worse, because I think I like music almost better than movies, with songs, because for me, some people, for me, music connects with me.
Yeah.
Certain movies do as well, like we all know, and it's a big part of what the kind of interrogation of Wolfman's Got Nards is how something can impact and connect with you that stays with you for your entire life, right?
Right.
And music really does, because we all know you can turn the dial or hit play and you instantly get transported. You can hear 3 notes of a song and go right back to the the kickball court in 6th grade, or sitting at your friend's house in 9th grade, or in college, overlooking the staring out the window while you're not listening to the professor or something. And music's powerful, just like movies are, and even TV is. It's weird with me because I'm a TV fiend, but music's different. And it was so, you were like, pick a song. I was like, damn it. Like,
Yeah,
no!
you told me, he's like, all right, give me a little bit. I gotta.
Yeah, it's like
think about this.
I gotta absorb that a little bit, because usually I try to go for something obscure, or because I have like my favorite artists or favorite bands, and one of my artists is actually known worldwide and not famous, but no one knows them. And I usually try to pick something from Southern culture on the Skids, but there wasn't one that fit, so I just like, and I was actually playing Bob Seger in the car on the way home, and I was like, we're talking about jobs, we're talking about the movie industry, we're talking about things that affect. I was like, Hollywood Nights it's not about making movies or being in movies, but it's about that feel of being in LA, of being around kind of the Hollywood vibe, even though it's about kind of two outsiders. Right. These are two kids that aren't from there, but they connect. But it's about the lure and the romanticism of that lure of what people come to LA for or come to Hollywood for. And then it's about how it usually never works out. It's like you have this amazing experience and then like it doesn't really last and you end up going home. But I love that story. Hollywood Nights is a great story about this kid. This kid who comes, it's a great lyric when he says he saw that face and knew he was too far from home. That's a fantastic lyric. And we've all felt that way sometimes. You're like, this is not where what am I doing here? And
Yes.
I think that's a great story to kind of exemplify, coming to LA or coming to Hollywood. And it's one of my favorites anyway. But it's weird for me because I'm an LA native. So it's not like I don't know what it's like to be a transplant and experience that lure. Like I was born and raised in LA and I started in the entertainment industry when I was 5. So I don't know what it's like to not understand that.
That's true.
But I love to live vicariously through characters like in songs like in Bob Seger songs.
I wouldn't know what to do with my
And I really want to live vicariously through, the characters in Night Moves. So that's just
definitely 100%.
What were you gonna say, Nikki?
I was gonna say, so I don't know if Marshall told you or not. So Marshall and I are cousins. We're
Day one cousins, literally.
We're only a couple months apart, and we're first cousins. So
Yeah.
we've rocked out this life practically since day one. But when we were getting ready for the podcast earlier, we were talking, and I feel even like cheesy saying this, but I was like, when Monster Squad came out, Marshall and I were obsessed.
That was our
obsessed
movie,
with
bro.
that
Like
movie. And I was reminiscing with him, and I'm like, I'm instantly a kid in his loft bed watching his like
Little
13-inch screen TV, like, and
JVC.
we're both like, this is where I go every time I think of that movie, and it's very. I don't even know. It's so weird to like see you at this age of life versus, you were, the younger version of you.
Yeah,
in my TV my whole life, which is.
she was definitely marking out, which is good.
I'm a little having a moment, but it's okay.
Oh, and by the way, Zane did find Monster Squad shirts on 80stees.com. Your Stephen King
I thought
Rules
they were
shirt?
still on there. I knew they were at a time. Sorry?
Your Stephen King's Rules shirt is there. The one with all of you guys and Frankenstein's monster walking. Remember that scene? Wolfman's got Nards shirt. It says Wolfman got Nards. I don't know. We can get you some money for that one. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. They got scary German guy on a shirt. They got Horace. They got my dude Horace on the shirt. Sorry, he was my dude. Horace was my dude.
He's everybody's dude. He's everybody's favorite character, and it's a shame. It's a tragedy that Brent's not around to kind of share in all this. Of course, one, I always say the same thing because he doesn't get to experience kind of this resurgence and this kind of relaunch of the fandom,
Right.
But it's also the fans don't get to interact and see. They get tired of me. They see me all the time, or see me at a convention or a screening, and they're like, it's Andre again. He just sits around and talks a lot, and or Ryan Lambert. He's like, yeah, Ryan's like Andre and Ryan are off there goofing off. Yeah. Where's and would love the fans to be able to hang out with Brent and vice versa, but. If I could do the Superman thing and spin the world around and go back in time, I definitely would. But I can't, so that sucks. But yeah, it's interesting, like Nikki, you were saying, will you instantly go back to that moment, that kind of imprinted on you with a certain film, which happened to be Monster Squad. And, same thing with characters. And it's been many years since you first saw this movie, but the chemistry and the way your brain works, it's very, very interesting of how we can just instantly go back and have that moment. You start kind of dripping out those same, vibes in your brain. And it's not comfort, it's not nostalgia. I think it's all of that stuff. Everybody wants to put a word on it. And I just think it's a powerful thing. And I think it's awesome. And like we said, music does it, but movies do it. Where did you see Monster Squad for the first time? Was it on VHS or was it on HBO? Or because I know you didn't see it in the theater because
no. It didn't. Honestly, it wasn't. It didn't come to our area in the theater. I remember.
Yeah.
We actually first saw it on VHS, taped off of HBO.
Right.
Back when everybody had the VCR and the blank tapes, and
Yeah,
that tape
and,
got
well,
worn the
that's-
fuck out, dude.
Yeah,
Seriously.
we almost burnt a hole in it. And I'm not even saying that to you.
You're not the
like,
first time I've heard that.
Yeah. That tape was so like certain spots were like all stretched out after a minute. Like it was like ridiculous. It was like I think one of the parts that actually got stretched out was when Ryan first got introduced, pulled up on his bike, and he went and lit the
That
match
might
on
have
his
been my
shoe.
fault.
Like and the tape just kind of slowed down after a while. Like during that spot, so it was like. Roar.
No, I know what happened. Nikki kept rewinding that shit back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Yeah.
Yep.
I know.
Yeah,
I can tell. I see. I know.
Between Monster Squad and Grease, I was all about the black leather jacket and the. Plus, I watched Kids Incorporated till I was blue in the face. I was obsessed with that before Monster Squad. So I was
tried
always
to be
about Ryan.
I tried to be Ryan, but I ended up being Horace. So that's just the way it was.
That's also not the first time I've heard that either. So it's, but that's what's interesting and also kind of special. And it was stories exactly like your stories about being in the bunk bed or rewinding the tape back and forth that. We started hearing, as this kind of resurgence kind of started, and those stories kept coming and coming, and I get another one awesome today. Like they don't seem to like fade away, and people want to share that story. And over a couple years, I realized that those stories were a story, and that's what the documentary is about. The documentary is not about the movie.
Right.
It's not about us. It's not a making of. It's not a where are they now. It's not a behind the scenes thing. Although there's elements of all of that. It was really about, hey, we're sitting here in the middle of this weird resurgence of a movie that no one saw, 30 years ago. Why is this movie still being talked about? Why is it so big that it is? I mean, it's bigger now than it ever would have been in '87. And, I surmised and wanted to interrogate it a little bit of why. And then it got into why things imprint and connect with people and impact them so deeply. And then I realized that the only reason that we're talking about this movie or going to a convention or going to a Comic-Con or a screening is because of you guys sitting in the bunk beds and wearing out that tape. And it's about the people that loved this movie. Yeah. And I wanted to tell their story. And that's what the documentary's about.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, the documentary, I have yet to see it. But it has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 100%.
Yeah.
Now, is that just because there hasn't been too many people that have seen it, or because that's an amazing score?
That's a
I
great
don't
score.
really
No,
follow
not really
the
many
movie
get.
scores too often, but I know that Rotten Tomatoes thing is they're a pretty harsh critic. So when I see 100%, I immediately was like, I will definitely be checking this out now.
Yeah, it's very interesting to because the tomato meter. I like to pretend I'm Patrick Stewart every once in a while. The tomato meter is actually the critic score. If you're a tomato meter accredited reviewer, it's not just some dude in an RV with a blog. It's
Thumbs up.
Some dude sitting in his mom's
it's actually
basement.
people that work for a publication or have something accredited, and that's special. And even great movies that have 100% for a couple of days, all of a sudden someone will throw one on there that's a negative or give them, 1 or 2 tomatoes just to be a shithead sometimes. Or maybe they don't like the movie, and that's totally fine. But yeah, we've been lucky enough that most of our critical reviews have all been at least medium to super positive. And yeah, we're 100%. So that's something to cheer
that's
about.
awesome.
Yeah, that is definitely awesome. And on that note, we're going to get to our next song here real quick. Just kick it over. I guess Nicki Sombrero.
Yes.
What song did you pick, Curly?
You wrote
Wait,
it down
I think I
because
know
now
it.
I'm forgetting.
I bet you I know it. Is it Wake Me Up, but the Ryan Lambert Kids Inc. version of the Wham song.
Oh my God! See, that would have been perfect.
That
for
would
this
have been perfect, see? Now, she actually picked Proud Mary by Ike and Tina Turner. So
Great song.
That's a good song.
Now, what's the story behind this?
Proud Mary.
Yeah.
I left a good job in the city.
Working for the man.
Working for the man
Every night and day.
Just wanted to know if there was a certain story that went with it. I know the song.
Well, she has had a lot of jobs in the city.
Yes, the city's a bane of my existence at this point. I have a love-hate relationship with Manhattan, wholeheartedly. I go to work and then I don't want to go back there for months on end, which is awful. But I don't know. I don't know why I chose that one. I think I've just honestly had too many random jobs in this life, from working at Disney to being a wench at medieval times to videotaping dolphins to like waiting tables, building video walls at the PNC Arena. I mean, we have got some avenues to go down here.
If you made a tree chart of her jobs, that shit would look like a bush. Just all
It'd be awful.
over, just everywhere. So, I can Tina Turner, Proud Mary. Kick it. All right, we're back. That was a good song. Great. I love Ike and Tina. So good.
All I have in my head is wake me up.
Leave me hanging on like a yo-yo.
So this is the part where we normally do a day in history, because wrestling was really none.
Oh, I was going to say, we're not talking about wrestling today?
We're not going to talk about wrestling today.
Andre, you're not a wrestling fan?
Look, man, when I was a kid, I used to go to huge WWF events
really?
because my friend had front row tickets. Yeah, I've seen some badass stuff.
So do you partake in wrestling today, or are you just like an old school wrestling fan?
I'll stick with the old school. I know some of the new school, and I happen, my claim to fame on new wrestling is he's now a pal of mine, but we met because he was a huge fan. But the wrestler formerly known as Zack Ryder.
Oh, Matt Cardona,
real
good
name,
man.
Matt Cardona is a pal of mine, and he's actually in the documentary. He was actually.
I remember him talking about it on his pod.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and I did his podcast with Mike, and it's Mike, and it was interesting because Matt was the very first event we went to was a convention in Florida in Orlando, and had the crew with us and cameras, and I think I'm right when I say he was the first person we sat in a chair and actually interviewed.
Oh wow!
And we didn't really have like our look or our kind of theming or our style down for our sit down interviews. And what was cool is we put him outside by a fountain at a hotel in Orlando. So Matt Cordona's on there, like, busting out of a Monster Squad T-shirt, and just going googly about talking about his favorite film.
That's awesome. Well, then let's talk about real quick the results of AEW, where Matt Cardona just spent a cup of coffee. Real quick, Ryan Nemeth lost to Pac. We saw that coming. World Title Eliminator Tournament first round match: Thunder Rosa versus Legit Layla Hirsch.
Not a bad match.
Good match.
I must say, the women's wrestling is looking better and better in AEW, and I hope that this massive women's tournament that they're having, which is including a lot of women from all over Japan.
8 from Japan, 8 from America.
Is it only 8?
Yes,
I thought
it
was
is.
Only, for some reason, I always thought it was 16 even.
Nope, 8 for 8 and 8.
Oh, well, very good.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that really opens up the floodgates there for their division to really start making some noise, because they got some talent there.
They have a
just
lot
need
of
to be
talent.
able to do it.
So Thunder Rosa picked up the big win on that one. Tony Schiavone interviewed Sting. This is Sting.
That's a waste of time.
That was a waste of time. Chris Jericho and MJF versus the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed lost, but they almost won due to a
I know
boombox shot.
how much you love them.
Oh yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the. No, I'm not. Not at all. Sammy Guevara quit the Inner Circle. We knew
What do
that.
you think next for Sammy?
Big solo babyface run.
You think so?
I guarantee it. He's going to go on a babyface run, and he's going to take that TNT belt from Darby Allin. Or whoever has the belt instead of Darby Allin at the time, yes. Hangman Page teamed up with... no, he didn't.
No, he
he hit a bar with Matt Hardy. That's right.
And there was the contract.
And he flipped the
shenanigans.
contract too. Yes, he took a different contract out. So we're gonna see what happens next week with that. Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson, Big Shotty Lee versus Cesar Bononi and Peter Avalon.
Shotty Lee gets
Shotty
his first
Lee
win.
got his first win, and now they're making a big old thing. He's gonna be feuding with QT Marshall.
Oh, is he really?
Yes, he is. Because QT took offense to him not mentioning him as part of his training team. It's like one big soap opera, and that's why I love wrestling. Because it is literally one big soap opera. I hate you because you didn't do this.
And they
I'm
can
gonna
bring
fight
people
you.
back from the dead.
They
time
can.
and time and
They
time
can bring
again.
people back. TNT champion Darby Allin defended against Joey Janela in a match that went a little bit too long for my liking for them.
It was okay.
It was okay. It should have ended up. Joey's not bad. He's very underrated. He's like Chris Jericho, but with my body. And it's not the best shape for wrestling. You know what I mean? He come out there looking like
Like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
looking like the Pillsbury
It's
Doughboy.
weird. You said it, and I thought it.
That's right. See? AEW World Champion Kenny Omega and Kenta came out versus John Moxley and Lance Archer in the main event in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Anything goes. Kenta and Kenny Omega picked up the big victory.
What'd you think about that last match?
I liked the match, but I didn't like the finish.
See, I wasn't a big fan of the Falls Count Anywhere kind of deal, go into the kitchen, and I kind of felt it was unnecessary.
It was.
There was a lot of unnecessary
Unnecessary.
shenanigans going on.
But the
in
thing
that
is,
entire
though,
match.
it was a John Moxley match. What the fuck you gonna do other than go outside of the ring? That's what he does.
That's true.
John Moxley is all out at Dean Ambrose, the former Dean Ambrose from the Shield. He's all about going out there, and I don't think he's had a match that stayed in the ring.
You might be right.
I think I'm correct in that one. So, what do you think of the AEW product, sir? Have you watched it at all?
I don't watch much. I see it, and I think it's interesting that it's a new thing that isn't just the juggernaut that we were all used to for so many years. And I like that. I think there should be other forms of something that people can enjoy, and wrestling is such an interesting thing, for people to be to follow, to be a fan, and it's a whole other column of entertainment that everybody, let's go back to, mine or our generation, when I say old school stuff, that wasn't necessarily old school. It went on for decades prior to that.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
We had, I had a great aunt or something that watched it religiously every week, back in her time, which was the 40s and 50s or something. And, and local stuff, it's insane.
Yeah.
And people just think it's sort of this kind of regional or local type of, weird thing. But it's almost it has, now it's huge because it's such a media property, and McMahon did so much with it and made it this juggernaut, this worldwide thing. But it was just this kind of cultish entertainment that people really, another thing that people connected to. It really affected their lives, even whether they thought it was farcical and silly, or they were just really into the characters, or they liked the action, or they liked what they came up with new moves. In the creativity, and then just kind of a crazy, in the 90s, of course, but it still has that hold on people, and it's just this whole other column of entertainment that now is also a commodity, of course.
Right.
But I absolutely, there should be other avenues of other verticals in that column, to get faces and names, and it could be careers for people. It's awesome.
And on that note, we have a day in history. This is a little segment that we usually call a day in history, because our man Zane's here. Old man usually does it, or Zane writes his own. But this week, what are we doing?
This one's mine.
This one's yours. Zane has a day in history. So here we go.
To address your stank.
And to let you know of a day in history.
Good morning, mates. It's Friday. That was yesterday.
That was yesterday, by the way.
I always write these during the week. I
Yeah.
never actually write them on the weekends. We take the weekends off. You've earned a good long soak in a hot European bath. Or those who like that fish that clean your feet. Whatever tickles your fancy. It's the 12th day of February, 2021. We've got 8 degrees on the dial. So if you're heading out there, remember your pants. Dracula came out on this day in 1931, starring Bela Lugosi, opens in theaters. It was based off the 1924 stage play, Dracula, which was adapted from the 1897 novel Dracula by the same name by Bram Stoker. It was the first sound film version of the
Stoker sounds dirty.
classic Bram Stoker.
Bram Stoker, that's a whole different guy. Totally different guy.
That's a great
That's what I
wrestler
wrote
name.
too. I actually wrote down here Bram Stoker.
No, that's just a good wrestler name.
That's right.
Well, you know that it was actually the first sound film version of the classic character?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was 3 other versions made prior to
My
it.
favorite was Nosferatu because it was so weird.
That was weird. I've actually watched that. I don't know if I like it, but it's a beautiful piece of cinema.
It's definitely a beautiful piece of work. It may be weird and fucking out there, but it's definitely a beautiful piece of work.
The first around the world automobile race took place on this day in 1908, from New York to Paris via Alaska, Siberia, and Russia. Did you know that?
I did not.
That sounds dangerous. Do
It
they
does
still
sound-
have races around the world?
I don't know.
That sounds fun.
That does sound
like
fun.
a cannonball run around the world.
Like,
It'd be like a
around the-
triathlon. You'd have to like jump in a boat.
That'd be awesome.
You know, and
That'd
then
be
like
awesome.
get on like a snowmobile and
Right?
you know, just
So do they
I
like?
could see Goldberg trying to host that show.
Do they race the cars to appear and then
Get on a boat.
get
And
on
they
a
put it
boat
on a boat.
and go to the next destination
Right?
and then keep racing?
That's what
across
I would
the country?
think.
God,
I didn't have a lot of
know.
information on that one.
taking a slow boat though, that'd waste time.
And in 1994, the Scream is stolen.
Oh,
Yep, the famous painting, The Scream, is stolen from the Ulsa. Yes, that's the one. The National Art Museum. The thieves stole the painting by using a ladder to enter a window where the painting was stored. They then cut the painting from the wall. The thieves took it less than a minute, and it was recorded by security cameras. The following May, 2 men were arrested while trying to collect the $414,000 ransom for the painting, and the painting was returned. It's also the birthday of Lorne Greene, who was born on this day in 1915. He died in 1987, the Canadian actor of the TV show Bonanza.
oh, Bonanza. I used
Yep.
to watch that show with my grandfather. That
There's
was a
also
good show.
Ben Cartwright's Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, 1962 to 72. He co-hosted it with Barry White.
Oh wow,
You know, he was in Roots, 1977. He was the first master of Kunta Kinte.
really?
Yep, and he was on my wife's favorite show, Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, Battlestar Galactica.
For
Yes.
loving sci-fi as much as I do, I cannot stand Battlestar Galactica. You know, and this was the original version. The 1978-79, he was played Commander Adium.
Dude, Starbucks, my dude. I don't care, man. Starbucks. Face from the 80s.
He was in the film Earthquake in 1974. You know, he was also musically inclined. You know, Ringo, #1,
Oh.
spoken word ballad about the real-life Old West outlaw, Johnny Ringo.
Oh.
He was quite the man. I honestly just knew him from Bonanza before I
He
did.
was
looked it
definitely
up
quite the
yesterday.
thespian, yes.
Yes. So you know what, people? Have a great day. And on this day, have an even better tomorrow, which will
Hey.
be now today.
Today,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. Love to all. Thank you, Zane.
Thank you, Zane. All right. And on that note, we're going to go to our last song, and then we're gonna BS. So my
we gonna do
pick.
that?
Yeah, we are. We're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it?
We're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it right now?
All right, we're gonna do it.
All right.
All right.
What's
My
your song?
song. It's a song. I don't remember who originally recorded it, but this one is by Roy Clark. And this is called Sally Was a Good Old Gal. Because Sally used to carry my books to school. She also used to sell, like, flowers and stuff on the road before she married herself a millionaire. So Sally was a good old girl. And that's the song we're looking at. Here we go. So, I figure right now we're going to wind down. I could talk about some celebrities since we have one on the show and their former jobs.
I know. It's good that you get to have me here every week.
I know, Zane. He's such a good, it's awesome, Zane. Everybody knows Zane. Everybody loves him. This is the money millionaire over here. Everybody's... Did you know that Steve Buscemi was a firefighter?
Yes.
And that he was at 9/11? He went
I
went
did.
back and it took care of his 9/11
I did
stuff.
not.
Yes, very good job to have. Christopher
one of the
Walken.
people I work with now actually lives in Fargo.
Really?
Yeah.
No shit.
I know. I'm surprised at that too.
Oh.
You know, it's funny that I work with people just on a computer now.
Right.
And they don't live around here.
No, they're all over the place. Did you know Christopher Walken was a lion tamer? Christopher Walken, that's right, he was a lion tamer. At the age of 16, he'd perform with a lioness named Sheba.
Wow.
I can see Christopher Walken taming a lion. Get back.
Sit down, lion.
I had
Sit
this
down.
lion's watch up my ass for just... You know Danny DeVito was a hairdresser for corpses?
Like a mortician?
Yeah. He would dress women's hair and men's hair for funerals.
Just the hair, though?
Yeah.
I didn't realize, like, there was different beauty techniques for the dead. I thought it was usually just the same.
I thought one person
man
did
or
it too,
woman,
makeup
like
and
a
hair.
cosmetologist kind of came in and did the whole shebang.
No, apparently he just did hair.
I got
He
nothing on
specialized
But he
in dead
only
women's
did dead hair, not live
Nope,
hair.
not live hair. He couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. It was
That's
just
that's a whole other certification.
That's right.
Like
Yeah, you
live
need a
hair.
whole nother, a whole nother.
The training's completely different.
You need a whole nother diploma for that. Speaking of Dracula, but a different Dracula, Christopher Lee worked in the intelligence service for the United Kingdom. He was a British secret intelligence person. I don't know how secret he was.
A spy?
Yeah.
A secret
He,
agent
he
man?
worked. He was technically a secret agent man. Yes, he was. Did you know Johnny Depp worked as a telemarketer?
No.
He only made one sale and promptly talked the customer out of the purchase.
Did he really?
Yes, he
That's
did.
funny.
And I'll give you one more here. Let's see. Oh, okay. Bob Ross was a sergeant in the Air Force, but we all knew that.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I don't know a lot of things.
Did you know Hugh Jackman used to be a gym teacher?
That makes a lot of sense. I don't know why it makes a lot of sense, but I could see him being my gym teacher. He'd look damn good in them short shorts.
You would. Speaking of looking good in short shorts, David Bowie, and this is the last one, worked as a butcher's delivery boy. David Bowie serving meat in paper. I can see it. So, I think we're gonna wind the show down. I think we've done all that we can do in an hour or so, and
Or more.
Or more.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andre Gower, again for coming on and hanging out and putting up with the shenanigans. And
No, shenanigans are fun sometimes,
That's
and
right.
I think with the trio there, with the jobs and the tree line of job, I think Nicki and I are the only ones that kind of cross over, because
Well, I mean-
we can go work at we could go work at a newspaper together.
That is very true.
Or on a shoot. Yeah, it's
that is very true.
the pool. I'll swim in the pool. I can
Right?
swim in the pool.
I can breed your laboratory mice for you too.
And I was in radio for years, so we can cross over like this. That's about as close as.
Which is also my favorite medium. I love radio. And
I was on
it's
a
sort
morning
of not
show for
the
a decade.
same. It's sort of not the same today, of course, because we have different technology. But radio is sort of the newspapers of today. It's slowly taking its last breath. And I have good friends in radio, and I still like radio.
I
I'm
do
still-
too. Like I still have a radio show that I turn on.
Yep.
5 days a week. Just because that's something like you said, it's so familiar and it really gets my day going. Like, yeah, I've got this magic machine here that can find or play whatever I want. But when I still want to hear the commercials in between even.
Yeah.
I want to hear the same news guy telling me, that the road is clear, that the bridge is all right. I want to hear that every day from those people because you get that connection. It's like, I've never spoken to my local newsman, but I get to hear his voice every day, and I know that things are gonna be all right.
That is definitely true.
Well, you made a perfect point there of what it was, because your newspaper guy or your columnist or your newspaper gal or your local radio personality was just that. It was your local person, and there was a connection to the locale. Now we're so connected to everything around the world. I mean, hell, we open up our phones and we're reading stories from Sri Lanka. We're like, oh my God, there was a fire in the market in Sri Lanka today. Like, that really shouldn't affect your life whatsoever. And yet we're scrolling and reading all of these stories, and we don't know what's going on around the corner from our own house. And that's a weird kind of dynamic of the newly connected world, which I think we've become it's fascinating. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a technophobe. But our technology is ramped up at such a rate that we haven't really caught up with it as animals yet. So
Right.
it's just affecting. That's why we're so whacked out right now. I think it's one of the factors. But it used to be, super simple. The paper goes to bed at midnight. You wait for A section in case the president got shot. It goes to print. It's still wet, when your grandpa gets it off the porch in the morning and he's reading it with a coffee or a bourbon or both. And, he's, reading the paper and got all of your news that day. And then we watched, whoever your network anchor man became your national local guy, whether it was Cronkite or Rather or,
Dan Rather was
Tom
the man.
Brokaw or whatever. and then that sort of expanded out. But now it's just insane.
Yeah.
It's there's so much coming at you that and then now there's podcasts, damn it.
Everybody and their mama has one, including us.
Yep.
Anchor.fm, get yourself a podcast.
It's like drinking
funny
from a
'cause
fire hose
I've
for
only had this-
sure.
Go
But
ahead.
but who knows? So, but it's fun to get to hang out with people that you don't know, and you become pals, and you get to come back, and we'll come back and do more music. I mean, I love talking about music and songs.
Oh,
and
dude,
I
wait,
like
come back and we'll have a whole episode talk about music. I'm good with
Yeah,
that.
I love the format, and Nikki's like, shit, where are my keys? I got to get out of
No,
here.
Right? She's like, I gotta.
No, I was gonna say this is the only thing constant in my life that rocks old school. This is my fire pager, so I'm also a fireman. To add to my crazy hat collection,
She don't
of
sleep
things
is what
that
she's
I
saying.
do. But yeah, all I do is turn it on. I can't talk to anybody, but it lets me know when there's a fire. And
Yeah,
that's about-
I love that.
Got
To see,
the
you
pager.
should have. If I were you and had that fire pager, I would have picked one of my other all-time favorite songs, which is "The Fireman" by George Strait. That's a
Good,
fantastic.
good tune, good
Or I could have
tune.
done "Burning Down the House."
Oh, that's another one too. That's one of
well-
my favorite. I love Talking Heads.
Talking Heads.
That's mine. And on that note, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you again, Andre, for coming.
Andre Gala.
Plug your stuff again, please,
Yep,
sir.
Wolfman's got Nards. I know that I have to check it out because I don't do all my homework, and I told myself like 2 weeks ago I'm supposed to watch this documentary, and instead my wife has had on The 100 and on like a constant roll for weeks now.
Yeah, so go ahead and plug your stuff there, my friend.
Well, that's okay, Zane. Don't worry about it. Just watch it, and then we'll come back, and we get to talk about it.
And
We
then
do a
we'll
whole
get to talk
other
about it
episode.
again.
We'll talk about
Exactly.
we'll talk about the doc, and then we'll talk about more music.
That sounds good to me. And I'll work a way out for you to hear music, so that way we can play it.
What Nikki's gonna like, I don't know if she's seen the documentary or not, but when she does,
I have to see it. No, I haven't seen it yet.
you'll.
I have.
Speaking of music, there's some cool music in there, and no one's really worked on or been seen or had their hands on this movie that wasn't impacted or involved with Monster Squad in some way. And a lot of our score in the film is done by a fan that we met on the road, and was made music and was aspiring to like score things like films and TV shows. And so we had him send a bunch of tracks, and he actually made some original stuff. But you'll hear some vocal tracks on loop at a couple times, and that's actually all Ryan Lambert's band's music from the 90s and the early 2000s.
Nice.
So Nikki's got a little nostalgic jag there for when she's listening to the music of Wolfman's Got Nards.
Oh,
but
the next question is she's going to be asking if you guys can both come on the shows.
I am
well,
so happy
Ryan,
with
I'll see
Andre.
what he's usually he usually gets bored about doing stuff. I usually like to talk about stuff, but if it's about music and all that, maybe we can get him on there and we
Hey,
can share the
sweet.
screen.
We'll have a whole episode at that point.
Yeah, please, follow me personally.
Yes.
Support support these guys' show and them as individuals. But yeah, I'd love for you to follow me on Twitter at Andre Gower, at Andre Gower Official on Instagram. If you're interested in checking out the documentary, right now you can order a Blu-ray or a DVD on Amazon.com. You can order it VOD. Whether rental or digital download on probably any of the VOD platforms that you have access to, everywhere from Amazon Prime to iTunes to Google Play to Redbox to Dish Network, your local cable provider. Just search on it somewhere. If you can't find it, just go to iTunes and check it out. And hit me up, ask questions, give us a thumbs up if you liked it, a thumbs down if you didn't. We take all comers and love to have all discussions and share your stories. That's what we like to do. It's because really it's just the continuation which people watch Monster Squad, you know, like Nicki was saying earlier, you know, when they watch the documentary, they go, that person was talking about me, and I related to that person or that fan that was telling that story or that cast member. And it took me right back to that, you know, that story. So I want to hear about everybody's story. So hit me up, you know, post it on Instagram, you know, type it out on Twitter, and, you know, 240 characters if you can, and you know, just share your stories with everybody, and that's really kind of what it's all about, is just continuing kind of the conversation and everybody kind of coming together for around a movie that no one ever thought anybody saw.
All right, thank you again. So for Andre Gower, for Zane, for Nicki Sombrero, I am Mole. We are out of here this week. Zane, do you want to give a quote? Because I know you love them Macho Man quotes this week. Do you got a Macho Man quote?
I don't have a Macho Man
You know that you're
quote for you.
disappointing me here. All right. Ooh, yeah. All right, we're out of here. I'll see you later. Thank you, Andre.
Nobody likes